Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Roots and Resilient podcast with myself, Laura, and my wonderful colleague, Mandy. Colleague and friend, I think it's fair to say, at this stage of our relationship. She's very
Thank you. I
excited about that.
appreciate that.
Good to hear. Good to hear. We're dropping in a little bit earlier than our next pod with a bite size, the R&R bite size, and you're going to be hearing more of these as we move forward. We want to bring you these bite size kind of top 5 tips sessions on various subjects to really back up some of the other things that we talk about in the pod. And we wanted to drop this one today, the day before the World Cup starts, mostly because as much as we all love in this country, we love a bit of Three Lions on a shirt, don't we? We love a bit of Vindaloo. We know the football chants. We know how it riles up the country and how it brings a sense of fun and atmosphere for most of us. But we have to think about the minority in that, and that minority quite often is our children with trauma. Research and statistics tell us that domestic abuse referrals to the police, to children's services, and to other professional bodies can increase by anywhere between 38 to 40% when big football tournaments are on, when we've got the World Cup, when we've got the Euros, and that's just the reported instances. So Mandy and I were talking recently about how we can think about this for you guys, and to give you basically our top 5 tips on how to manage the impact of the World Cup if a football match or a football tournament is potentially triggering to your children. The difficulty, I guess, Mandy, is knowing if this is a trigger, because I'm guessing when you've read referrals and reports for children, mentioning the World Cup or the Euros or a big penalty shootout doesn't tend to come up in that information, does it?
It doesn't. It doesn't at all. If you think about the information we have on our children, their previous experiences of big sporting tournaments doesn't come up at all.
Mm.
And so it may be that until you're in it, you don't realize you're in it. Um, you may have had your children living with you for a longer period of time, and so you may have think back to the last big tournament, whether that was the Euros or a different sport, and realised that there was more of a wobble in their behaviour and
Mm.
something that you couldn't quite put your finger on at the time. And we've been talking about this a lot away from the pod, and we just want to help support you really with bringing things to your attention and giving you some really good advice on how to navigate these more trickier times. And I think um, the football is what has really connected with us. Wimbledon's on every year. Formula One races are on every couple of weeks. I watch all of these sports. I do not partake in any of them. I just like to reassure everybody. But I love watching all of them. And I do get passionate about it. And I do get really immersed in it.
Mm.
And actually, with myself reflecting back, those big football tournaments, I had a child who, as soon as that football theme came on,
Hmm.
he really couldn't cope with it. He was trying to distract me, he was trying to get my attention. This year will be probably the third football tournament I've been able to watch in the last 15 years because of the children that I've had in the house. So if you are a big sports fan and your child is really not interested in watching it with you or feels really uncomfortable being in the room with it being on, I really want you to just take a moment and sit back and reflect on that. Hopefully together, we're here to help you come up with some strategies and some solutions so that we can all move forward happily and safely.
Definitely, definitely. And I think our first point today is about predictability. The challenge, of course, if we're focusing on the football, is England's performance in the nicest possible way, has been unpredictable. Even since the big match of '66, it's been unpredictable. And therefore, our responses are unpredictable, aren't they? Are we happy? Are we sad? Who knows what's going to happen in 90 odd minutes, let alone penalty? So,
Yeah.
yeah, our first point is around predictability and giving our children a real heads up about what to expect over the next few weeks, if it is even a few weeks, if we even get that far as a team
Yeah.
and as a country. So, Mandy, thinking about that, what's worked for you? How have you been able to create almost this script about what to expect? How have you managed that at home?
You can do that pre-teaching. So you can say, I'm going to watch the football tonight. I'm really sorry, but I get really passionate about it. So if I shout out, I'm not cross
Mm,
with you and nothing bad has happened. It's just because I'm just enjoying the match so much.
mm,
So I'm already telling them that my body language, my facial expressions, my tone of voice may be more excitable because I'm
mhm,
watching the match than it normally is. It's also about teaching them what to expect when you put the match on. There's going to be
mhm.
lots of crowd noises. There's going to be
Oh,
cheering. There might be drums banging. There might be vuvuzelas, if we could go back that far in our footballing history. All of these noises and these sounds, but reassure them that that's normal and it's natural for that experience, and everyone's going to be okay. It's on
yeah.
the TV screen. If it's too loud, tell me, I'll turn it down. I might not be able
Mhm,
to turn my own excitement down, but I could turn the TV down if that's too much for you. So it's that pre-teaching that
mm,
we want to make everything as predictable as we possibly can. We
yeah.
can't predict what the outcome is going to be, but we can predict what might be going on.
Sure. Sure. And I think that's a bit, isn't it? I can't predict what the score's going to be. I can't predict who's going to score first. I can't predict how I'm going to feel if we do go to pens, because let's be honest, it's going to happen at some point. But what I can tell you is I am going to be a little bit different tonight. And that's okay. This is about the football. It's not about you. So really
Yeah.
talking that through beforehand and giving them the scope to think about that, to ask you questions, to reflect on that. And I guess have maybe some choices about where they want to be when that's happening, which leads into point two, doesn't it? About having that safe space away from the TV, away from the lounge, or wherever you might be watching that. What does a
Yeah.
safe space look like in your house, Mandy? How have you managed to create that? Point two, a safe space away from the screen.
We have quite an open plan living area, but the children can sit. If they My children at the moment, they're not interested in watching the
Mhm,
football, but they find it quite funny when I get so emotionally involved with it. So they might be playing with their Lego on the rug in front of the sofa so that they're still with me. They can still see that we're safe and we're okay.
mhm,
They're not really bothered what's on the TV, but they can look up and look at it if they wanted to. The other option is that they could sit away from the television just round the corner at the dining table, and they can do their colouring or jigsaw puzzles or
mhm.
drawing pictures or anything like that. And
Yeah.
they are more than welcome to sit there if they don't want to sit so close to the TV screen.
Mhm.
They could also go to their bedrooms if they wanted to. I would never send a child to their room, but if they just think, actually, this just isn't for me and I don't want to be anywhere near it, there's no shame. They can go up to their room. They've got reading books. There might be, depending on what time you're watching the match as well, if it's an afternoon game, they could probably play on their um, Xbox and switches upstairs in their bedrooms.
Yeah.
If it's an evening and it's before their bedtime, then that obviously is not going to be an option. But
Mhm.
there are alternatives, and they know that it's not rejecting them, it's their choice. And I think that's
Yeah.
really key and really important.
I agree. And I was just thinking as you were saying that about the space that they're in. Most of us will be aware, if you are a football fan listening to this, that the games are actually going to be for us in the middle of the night. They're like 1, 2 in the morning, midnight maybe. So it may be that, you as parents, if you're planning to stay up and watch that, you're probably going to have to manage your volume anyway, so as not to wake anybody and not to cause a disturbance in the house. But if you're going to choose to watch it with the children, if that's an option for them, a recording, playback, whatever. I'm just thinking about the predictability bit. And if your children need to know more, is there's nothing wrong with telling them the score and then still enjoying the match. So, I can tell you England won this game. I don't know if that's wishful thinking on my part, Mandy, maybe, but England did win. It was a good score line. Do you want to know the score? No, you just need to know that they won. That's fine. Or maybe they do want to know the score line, but you can still enjoy the game together, but they've had that predictability. They know at certain points there is going to be a big cheer, and we can still join in with that. We can still enjoy the atmosphere if that works for them. But
Yeah.
equally, there is, I guess, more of an opportunity with this particular World Cup to be able to avoid bits of that because of those timescales. So I was just thinking of that. I was also just thinking about creating that safe space. There's a big sensory reaction to the World Cup. People are, more animated in their body language. The atmosphere feels different. The sounds are different. Um, the smells and the tastes might be different. Maybe you have different snacks when you watch the football. Maybe you're allowed fizzy drinks at that point as a treat. I don't know. But really thinking about how we manage that. So things like, the lighting in the room. Do we need the big light on, or can we have the lamps on, or a dimmer switch if that's what you have in your house? Um, the safety of maybe a weighted blanket is always helpful. That helps to calm and regulate children if they're feeling a bit wobbly. If they are going to sit and watch, if they're comfortable to snuggle up with you and do that, maybe a fidget toy or something sensory. They might even fidget with the label on their weighted blanket if they're using that. Um, Not the headphones, the noise cancelling headphones can also be helpful. So they're still engaged, they're still aware, but they've just got that little bit of barrier of protection as well.
Mm.
And maybe a teddy, maybe a good pillow to cuddle, a teddy to cuddle, but something that just brings a little bit more familiarity, a little bit more softness to what's going on can also help in that instance as well.
It's that sensory regulating that we offer
Mm.
all the time.
Hmm.
Just because we're going to be preoccupied with what is happening on a football pitch that's on our screen, it's still really, really important to remember all of those sensory needs that our children have. That's a really, really good point, Laura. Thank you.
Mm. Mm. Just think about point number 3 then, Mandy, is about the big emotions that are attached to sport. And again, particularly when England are either winning or, let's face it, more likely losing. Not trying to predict this, not trying to manifest any bad results here, but let's base ourselves on history. So the big emotions attached to that for the adults, again, whether you're a big football fan or whether it is just something you get into every couple of years, the children that you are parenting at the moment may not be used to seeing such big emotions in you. Or if they do, it's few and far between. And now we'll have this kind of short but intense period of feeling that and then witnessing that. So we need to be able to help them understand that and not misinterpret our big facial expressions, our big volume, our big shift in body language. They need to
Mm,
understand what's actually going on in that instance and that you're not suddenly this big, scary, unpredictable figure. They need to have some context to it, don't they? So I'm
mm.
just thinking about kind of those one liners, those key one liners that we can offer repeatedly to help our children understand that. Mandy, what have you used?
I I sort of emotionally narrate how I'm feeling. So if it's
Mm,
getting to a really exciting bit, oh my God, he's going to score. He's going to score. My God, this is so exciting. So that I can, and it, honestly, if you had a webcam in my house, you would probably think I was completely bonkers. But it's about, I think it's about doing that narration so that the child's not sat there going, oh my God, they're suddenly shouting now. I must have
mm,
done something wrong. And then the child is triggered, their defenses go up, and they're going to protect themselves.
mm.
We have to be so aware of what their previous experiences might have been.
Yeah.
What we said at the beginning is true. We won't get a script of when the World Cup was on, this is what was said to the child. We won't
Sure.
have that information. But what we can picture is if these children lived with football crazy parents, real fanatics, they win and they lose with their whole heart. So there
Mhm,
would have been huge elation when the team won, which the child wouldn't have understood because unless they
mm,
understand the game of football, it's just an adult who's suddenly behaving differently. And heaven forbid, when we lose, it would be the end of that adult's world and they would be angry. They might throw things, they might swear, they might get violent,
mhm,
they
mhm,
might throw things. So if I can narrate my feelings to my child, I'm letting them know that they're okay and I'm okay. It's just the
mm,
emotions connected to what's happening in the game.
mhm, mhm. Absolutely. There has to be context to it, doesn't it? And again, it's then saying, okay, I understand. It's predictable that Mandy is going to shout and be excited and go like, yes, get in when so and so scores. And I know what you're like with
So
Harry
do.
Kane, Mandy. I do.
I
I
so
do.
do.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Wow. Phew, I am. the fifth referee. I tell you, they just need to listen to everything that I said. Um,
Totally.
it is reinforcing that message. They're okay. You're okay. Everything's going to carry on as normal. It's just
Mhm.
what's happening at this moment, like when they're playing a game and it gets to an exciting bit, or
Mhm.
they're watching a film or a TV show and it gets to an exciting bit. It's that, so we can, and we're also constantly being that positive role model so that when
Yeah.
our children grow up, they don't become people who watch sports and can't hold their emotions together.
Mm.
And hopefully we can break some of that generational patterns and cycles that we see. And the figures that you mentioned earlier, it's incredibly scary for what
Mhm.
might come about.
Sure. Sure, definitely, definitely. And I guess there's something in there, isn't there, about bringing things back to whatever your normal looks like afterwards, coming back to the routine, regulating ourselves as adults to be that calm, that sense, that source of stability, that source of security, and still being predictable outside of the football, still doing those bits that we've always done, so that they recognize it was just for these 90 minutes or a little bit longer with extra time or whatever. It was just for that period. Mandy is still Mandy. Mum is still mum. Dad is still dad. Grandma is still grandma. This is all okay. We were just caught up in that moment and we've enjoyed it or not. But actually, we're going back to how things were afterwards. That's the bit,
Yeah.
isn't it? About bringing it back full circle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. Point number 4, Mandy, was all about kind of distraction. And I
Yep.
love this bit when we were talking about this before. I love this bit is if you've got a child who um, is a bit distracted, is a bit fidgety, isn't quite knowing where they fit within this because was it a problem before? We'll probably never really know unless
Hmm.
they're able to kind of reflect and disclose a little bit, maybe. But giving them sort of almost a little bit of a job, almost something to focus on to again help bring down that cortisol, open up the higher brain, the logical brain, not functioning from that survival brain for whatever might be triggering them. And I think there's some really lovely little things that children can do that still allow you as the adults to enjoy the game if that's what you're planning to do. Things like getting the snacks ready, chopping
Oh,
up your crisps. Can you grab us another bag? Could you shake them into the bowl? Have we got enough popcorn? Those
yeah,
kind of things. Because you know what we're like with the Pringles. Once we've popped, we cannot stop. So we need a Pringle monitor. It's very
we
important that
do.
we all have a football Pringle monitor in the house. Maybe they could be drawing a picture of their favourite player, designing a new football. They've got a little bit of kind of colouring and drawing distraction going on. Picking something you can do at half time. Maybe there's time for a quick game of cards to bring everyone back together. Maybe we do need to go and top up the snacks at that point. Maybe we can go and have a quick run around the garden for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe not at midnight or 1 a.m., but if you're watching the repeat the following day. Um, yeah, we all know the score is on the screen, but maybe they could, keep their own scores and have a little tally chart together. Maybe they can do the misses as well as the goals. But there's all these other things that gives them a little bit of a purpose and a little bit of a distraction and something that just allows them to be involved without maybe some of that fear attached so much.
Yeah, I love the idea of doing a halftime activity because
Mm.
if we if we are watching a tense game, let's be honest, my emotions are going to be pretty shredded, to be fair.
Mhm.
I'm going to have a lot of nervous energy. I'm going to have more spikes in my cortisol because I'm going to get really passionate and involved in the game. The idea of actually going out, obviously, like you said, at a time that's appropriate and doing some jumping jacks in the garden or running on the
Yeah,
spot or
yeah,
playing a quick game of catch or something like that. It would be
yeah.
really good to do that reconnecting, but we're
Hmm.
also burning off that excess nervous energy that we're
Yeah.
holding and our children will be holding as
Hmm.
well, because they will feed off of us. Another
Absolutely.
thing that I've done before is watching a football game. I've said, I really like the player with the number 6 shirt. I can never remember their name, but the player with the number 6 shirt, every time you
Mhm.
see the number 6, can you write it down? Because I think he's really, really good and I think he's going to get the
Yeah.
ball a lot. So can you tell me how many times number 6 gets the ball or whatever it is, they can sit with you and they can engage in the game on a different level,
Mhm.
probably without getting as emotional as and as engaged as I will, but they have a focus.
Definitely. Definitely. I really like that. Yeah. You know what? I'm I'm now going to watch the first England match and go, who's playing in number 6?
I
That's
can't
going to be the first thing I think of now, and I'm sure some of our listeners will be watching that first game, going, it's so and so in
number
number
6.
6. Yeah, we'll all be checking our Panini sticker books to
Yeah,
work it
please
out,
do.
won't we? Yeah. I
Please
wonder
let
if
me
they're a
know who is
shiny.
number 6 because I don't know.
Yeah. No, I'm
Um,
off the top of my head. I don't know. Yeah.
Anything that we can do to keep connected with our children, even when we
Mhm.
are doing our own thing, will help them and will help us, and we can continue to do that co-regulating, which is key.
Definitely, definitely. And it leads us really nicely into point number 5 about, if we are seeing that our children are triggered, what are we doing to repair that? Because ultimately, yes, most of us here are football fans. Most of us will be engaged in the matches in some way, shape, or form. But England will play again. Our children's nervous system is our focus, making sure that our children are safe and happy no matter what. If we have to separate ourselves from the football, we have to focus on that parenting first. And if
Yeah.
we do see that our children are triggered, if we have with the best will in the world and missed a trick here and we haven't been aware and we see them struggle, we have to be able to repair that. They still have to know that we are those solid, secure, predictable adults.
Yeah.
And for me, this is where I guess elements of pace come in, accepting that this is difficult, accepting that maybe I wasn't on the ball enough for this. I
Hmm.
thought I knew, but I didn't. It's okay to get it wrong. It's how we fix it. So some acceptance in there and then some curiosity with our children. I wonder if me being loud with the telly scared you. I wonder if me acting differently this evening watching this game made you think of somebody who wasn't very safe.
Mm.
There's lots we can be curious about. And then, of course, backing it up always with the empathy. It must have been so scary for you to see me like that. That must have been so horrible when that's not me normally, when I've never been like this around you before. So finding that way to repair and reconnect, I think, is going to be, potentially something we have to do quite quickly if we see a
Uh-huh.
reaction quickly and not waiting until half time. That game can wait. It's always going to be on a replay.
Yeah. And it's about having that little bit of collaborative teamwork between you and your child as well. I
Mhm.
totally agree with everything you've just said, Laura. You can do that whole, I wonder when I shouted when the goal got missed, that really frightened you,
Mhm.
but that might happen again. So what do you need me to do differently to help you to still feel safe? Because I know you're okay, because
Mhm.
I'm not going to hurt you. What
Mhm.
can we
Mhm.
do together to help you get through this? Some children might turn around and go, well, I don't want you watching football. Um,
Fine.
that's when you have to make that
Fine.
decision around, okay, I'm willing to sacrifice my football. I will watch it on a replay when the kids aren't around, or I'll watch it on my phone with headphones, earbuds in.
Yeah.
And when it gets to an exciting bit, I'll remove myself from the room.
Mhm.
You are the
Mhm.
adult. You have to take responsibility of making sure your child feels
Definitely.
safe.
Definitely. And I think, you mentioned there Mandy making a choice, and I think we would agree, and I would think most of our listeners would agree that if you get to that point, it's not even a choice, it's just a natural, it will have to wait. It will have to
Yeah.
wait. I was also thinking about some people who have been lifelong solid England fans, football fans, and about if you really do feel that you want to watch as much as possible, this is where your support network is really important, isn't it? Can someone babysit for you? Can you take
Mhm.
turns with your other half? Can you, as a group of friends, agree which ones you'll watch and which ones you'll miss and back each other up? Because actually, if you know you're going to get involved, are you better to be doing that somewhere else? Are you better
Mm,
to, and I'm going to say it, guys, go to the pub and watch it with friends. Go to someone else's house and watch it. Have, your support network or your backup carer babysit for the night, have the children sleep over somewhere so you can host at home. You know,
mm.
find other ways around it. If it's not right for your child, it's not right for you, but you can still find other ways to enjoy it. It might just look a little bit different to the way you'd want it to if you were going for a family approach, but it will always have to be the child that comes first.
Absolutely. And I think that's actually a bonus point, isn't it? So we've had
Mhm.
our top 5, and
Oh,
our
we had
little
an
bonus
extra.
point is
We went to penalties, Mandy. We went to penalties
this is the
and
extra
scored.
time penalties,
Absolutely.
sudden death point, really. Um,
Yeah.
we know that football can really make a spike in our adrenaline, and it brings all the emotions to do with that. When we're losing, it's frustrating, and we can get angry. When we're winning, we're jubilant, and we feel that we can conquer the world. But we all need to be reflective on how the football, the matches, the results, the atmosphere is making us feel. Because if
Mhm.
we can reflect on that, then we know how we will come across to our children. They
Definitely.
will be seeing things that we may not be aware of. So really be aware of how you are engaging with the football. If you always historically used to watch the football in the pub with a pint, now you've got kids, so you're going to do it from home with alcohol. Just make sure that alcohol is not going to also be another trigger for your child,
Mm,
because football,
mm,
noise, alcohol,
absolutely.
it's kind of a bit of a cocktail for
Yeah.
really, really scary things happening for our children. So
Mhm.
if you need to drink alcohol, can you put it in a clear, sorry, not a clear, a opaque cup, a travel mug or something like that, just for the night for football, just so that it's not another layer on top of what your child's already experiencing. Does it have to be alcohol?
Yeah.
Can it be
Yeah.
alcohol-free beer?
I was just going to
Can it be
say, and you can
squash?
point out it's a Beck's Blue, it's a Peroni Zero. It can be any of that. Makes that clear to your children.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Yeah.
again, going
I
back
want
to
to
our
enjoy
point
a beer, but
one,
I don't want to be drunk. Yeah.
going back to our point one of making everything as predictable as we possibly
Mhm.
can, in their head, the football music may be connected to the chanting and the loud noises and the shouting that then happens at home, that is because of the
Yeah.
alcohol as well.
Yeah.
So if you
Yeah.
can really be open and transparent with what you are doing, how you are feeling, and what things are going to look like, I think that a lot of the issues that your children will be frightened about will be resolved.
Definitely. Definitely. Mandy, I am amazed at how we've managed to psychoanalyze football from a trauma informed point of view. But I'm really hoping that that's helpful for our listeners. So thank you guys for indulging in our bite size. Thank you for listening to us talk about the impact of football for children with trauma. And I guess we will end with "Come on, England."
Well, yes,
Thanks,
we're not
guys.
going to say that anything's coming home because we don't want to jinx it. But enjoy the football if you're a football fan. Just be mindful of the impact on your children, and just try and make it as positive a memory making experience as you possibly can. Um, if you like what we've been talking about and you like the idea of these bite-sized episodes, then please let us know. We've got some ideas for some more topics coming up. Um, as always, we'd really appreciate it if you could like, follow, subscribe, join our Facebook page. There'll be additional content on there as well. And yeah, tune into the next episode. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye for now.